And what about Drugo? Felipe Drugovich appears today at the Cadillac promotional event over in Le Mans. Lance Stroll is undergoing a procedure with the same doctor from 2023 to fix his wrist. How exactly did he get injured? Will he race in Canada? If he doesn't race, who would be his replacement? Would it be the Brazilian? Porsche unveils a street legal hypercar, the 963 RSP. Valteri Bottas puts his name forward for Red Bull, or actually for anyone who's interested. Cadillac announces its first partner for 2026, and the 6 Hours of São Paulo inform there will be a track invasion and a capital initial concert after the checkered flag. Friday, June 6, 2025, there's no Formula One this weekend, but the news doesn't stop. So before we kick off the weekend, Indy's cold. You can see it's cold here in São Paulo, right? Sit down so we can talk about everything. The soap opera, will Felipe Drugovich race or not for Aston Martin at the Canadian Grand Prix? Started even before the race in Spain had begun. For those who aren't up to speed on the drama, let's quickly recap. Lance Stroll couldn't get his car into Q3. He didn't go through the weigh-in, went straight to the motorhome where they say he freaked out, broke things, punched walls, cursed at people, and then Aston Martin informed the FIA before he could be disqualified because skipping the weigh-in leads to disqualification, that he would miss Sunday's race for medical reasons. What medical reasons? Everyone wondered because he hadn't complained about anything. According to Aston Martin's statement, he was experiencing wrist pain. I don't know if it was this one or that one. Any that had reached its limit after 6 weeks, and so he wouldn't be able to drive the car on Sunday. It was late Saturday afternoon when I posted this here, and the internet went wild with everyone asking, will Drugovich race? No, Drugovich would not race. He didn't race. Because to replace a driver, you have to do it before the start of qualifying. Whoever qualifies starts. If the person who qualified doesn't start, then no one starts in their place. So the race had 19 cars. Still on that day, because our role here is to inform, not to please everyone. I mentioned in the comments on the Instagram post, since the video about Saturday's qualifying had already been released, it's possible that Valteri Bottas might race. That may bother some people, but anyway, it doesn't matter. The truth isn't always going to please everyone. That's just how it is. Bottas is considered one of the candidates for the seat if Stroll can't race. Because after all, they have a backup. In fact, they have two. Felipe Drugovich and Stoffel Vandoorne. Yeah, but these reserves, despite the fact that I think Drugovich deserves a chance in Formula One of them, Drugovich has never raced in a Grand Prix, and the other, Stoffel Vandoorne, last drove in. 2018, Bottas has over 200 Grand Prix under his belt, was racing up until December, and has 10 wins and 20 pole positions. And he's a versatile reserve who works with Mercedes, and he's also available for McLaren. If called upon, he could race for Williams, and it wouldn't be hard to arrange his services for Aston Martin either. I mentioned this, left this information on the table because it really could happen. Everyone in the international press was already reporting it. Aston Martin may request boots. Oh, but that's unfair, that's outrageous, and so on. Take it up with Aston Martin. There's no point arguing with me. I shared information that's being seriously considered by a lot of people abroad. And by those who are serious here as well. But what about Drugovich? Well, he's Aston Martin's reserve driver. He has commitments with Cadillac for the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and he announced live on band before the start for all of Brazil to hear. My priority is Formula One. So everyone had the information. Drugo prefers Formula One. Yeah, but we need to see if he would or will get that chance, because Lance Stroll apparently underwent the procedure with Dr. Javier Mir, the same doctor who operated on him last time as specialist in microsurgery of the hand, shoulder, and wrist, who treats many of the MotoGP guys who are always getting injured. The doctor, in fact, works in Barcelona, so Stroll didn't even need to travel to have the procedure done. And I suspect he also didn't have to wait for insurance approval. Last time, Stroll was ready to get back in the car in 12 days. And from what we hear, this time the treatment was much simpler. Aston Martin says Stroll is their plan A for the Canadian Grand Prix. Who would be plan B? Will a plan B even be necessary? Well, the answer started to appear yesterday when Drugovich posted on Instagram, Road to Le Mans. And today he appeared at a Cadillac promotional event of many that take place before the 24 Hours of Le Mans, showing off the special livery, his helmet with the team suit, indicating that he's set to race the 24 hours, or at least that so far he hasn't been told by Aston Martin that he'll be racing in Formula One. I'll also take this opportunity to address another topic still related to Drugovich. And what about Cadillac? Will Cadillac have a team in Formula One in 2026? He's racing now this coming weekend for Cadillac in the 24 Hours of Le Mans, least in theory. Could this be a sign here that might indicate something over there later on? Let's not jump to conclusions. Let's not make assumptions, because there's an issue here that I posted about yesterday on Twitter and reposted on Instagram. Graham Loudon, the team principal of Cadillac, who will be the boss of the team next year, manages the career of a Chinese driver named Guanyu Zhou. Guanyu Zhou is a reserve driver for Ferrari. Ferrari will be the engine supplier for the Cadillac team. So don't get mad at me, but it's good for you to have this information. The old man here is giving you a heads up 6 months before the end of the season that it wouldn't be and won't be a surprise if Zhou's name comes up strongly among the candidates. Am I saying it's going to happen? No. Am I saying that Drugovich doesn't stand a chance? Also, no. I'm just telling you to keep this information in the back of your mind so you can avoid heartbreak and surprises at the end of the year. My God, he was stabbed in the back. Where did they find this Chinese guy? This Chinese driver has always been in the running. Then I read a comment somewhere, that's why Formula One disgusts me with all these contract stories. Oh, right, because the world outside doesn't have these things, huh? Football then is totally clean. I always say this here. Appreciate Formula One as a whole, all the drama, all the political, economic, financial, and sporting intrigue. Everything that happens is just so cool. If you waste your time focusing on just one thing, you start to hate the rest, but the rest is also dynamic and fun. Oh, but you didn't say if Drugo is racing or not, or who's racing, etc. That's because I don't know. Nobody knows. Anyone who says they know is an irresponsible person who's lying to you. Oh, but in a week it turned out to be right. Even a broken clock is right twice a day. Today, Porsche unveiled to the world the road legal version, street legal, of its hypercar prototype, the Porsche 963. It's a special street legal version of the 963 model that races in IMSA and has even been sweeping the competition with Felipe Nasr over in the United States, and also competes in the WEC and will run the 24 Hours of Le Mans with Nasr. The project is a tribute to another version of another prototype, the legendary 917, which also had a street version 50 years ago. The model was driven on the streets for the first time by Timo Bernhard, who has won Le Mans 3 times and is part of a consortium, a joint project between Porsche Germany, Porsche Penske, the team that operates the race car, and Porsche America. The changes made so it could be driven on the road were kept to an absolute minimum. Slightly more modulated power delivery, higher ride height, because, well, you know, softer shock absorbers, street tires which can be slick sand, of course, the addition of a horn. The car will do a few demonstration laps at the 24 Hours of Le Mans, then it will go to the Porsche Museum in Stuttgart. We've already been there, there's a video here on the channel, and it will also run alongside the 917 at the Goodwood Festival later this year in July, I think. Valteri Bottas said he's easy to get on track, available, just waiting for a match. Speaking on Formula One's official podcast, Beyond the Grid, he mentioned that he got into talks to race for Red Bull in 2025, but they quickly cooled off, and he said, someone in there doesn't like me. According to Bottas, the matter quickly cooled down because certain people or one person within the Red Bull organization, for some reason, is not a big fan of mine. And he raised the question, do they really need a driver? After all, they have so many people. It doesn't seem like the Red Bull car is very easy to get performance out of. He confirmed that he is available to race, hinted that he would race for whoever calls him, including Cadillac, and said that he received an offer from IndyCar. And he concluded by saying he's ready to take on a full-time seat, any seat, including at Red Bull. I'd like to know what Toto Wolff thinks about that. Cadillac, which we've already talked about here a few times, today showed the world its new partner. Its first, actually, partner besides Ferrari, right? Which will supply engines the American brand Tommy Hilfiger, or Hilfiger, I'm not sure how you say it. The brand has a long history in Formula One. It was with Lotus back in the day, at the end of Lotus's story, then with Ferrari in the 2000s, moved on to others, was with Mercedes, and now at the start of the year was replaced at Mercedes by another brand, Adidas. And now it comes in as an apparel partner and lifestyle sponsor, even making the uniforms for the future American team. Apparently, we'll also see Cadillac team clothing in the brand stores around the world, including a store here in Brazil. This video isn't sponsored, but maybe it could be. And the brand is also a partner of the Formula One movie, which I think premieres in about 2 weeks. If we get invited to watch it, we'll do a review here. The movie stars Brad Pitt, and as a bonus today, there was news that Brad Pitt is preparing a new production, a film about the Isle of Man TT, that crazy race where more than 2 or 3 people die every year. So yeah, it looks like there's a movie about that coming too. Motorsport is really trending, isn't it? According to the report, Cadillac will have its headquarters in Indianapolis. I didn't know it would be like that with the cars labeled Made in USA. Can you imagine if, just for fun, Europe decided to put tariffs back on American cars? The 6 hours of São Paulo, the Brazilian round of the WEC, the World Endurance Championship, will take place from July 11th to 13th. I'll be there, and the event sent out an email informing everyone that a track invasion will be allowed after the checkered flag to wrap up the activities, along with a concert by Capital Initial. All grandstand sectors that have been sold will have free access to the track after the end of the 6-hour race. And at 6:15 p.m. on Sunday, that is 15 minutes after the checkered flag, a performance by Capital Initial will begin. It doesn't say here where exactly, but I think it will be in the fan zone. I'll be there as press, and maybe with a brand as well, but nothing has been finalized yet. And I'll see you there. I saw many of you there last year. I'm not being paid to say this, by the way, but it really was a great event, a lot of fun, and it was a real pleasure to meet our crowd. Speaking of our crowd, yesterday I shipped out a bunch of stuff from here to our subscribers. The Lego kits we received here, the Formula Collection miniatures, and straight from the publisher, 3 more books are being sent out. We send things out from here so you can get an idea of just how nationwide our community is. To Santo André, Fortaleza, Curitiba, Fortaleza again, Botucatu, Itacarambi, Minas Gerais, São Paulo, Alto Paraná, and Rio Grande do Sul. Another one to Curitiba, Brasília, Jaraguá do Sul, and Brasília again. And this week we already sent a giveaway to Macapá. Joe from Gulliver Publishing told me that we sold a level to Serran Madureira in the interior of Acre. These giveaways are provided by Formula Collection and our newest partner, Ride Happy, with whom I have a call scheduled on the 11th to discuss upcoming giveaways and new promotions here. It's part of my effort to give back to the people who support the channel by subscribing, contributing to this project, which is my full-time job and exclusive dedication. We hold giveaways here during the last live stream of each month. You can participate by becoming a member. Just click the join or become a member button or use the link down below in the description. There were 700 of us until the beginning of last weekend when I showed the prizes, and now we're at 820. Come join us and be part of the best community, the best and largest Formula One motorsport audience in Brazil. All that's missing is you. Besides sending out the prizes, this week I was on the podcast of the wonderful Cássio Cortez on Wednesday. I'll leave the link down below for you to watch if you haven't seen it yet. It's always a really fun chat. Cássio is a great guy, knows a lot, and whenever he invites me, I always find a way to make room in my schedule to go talk with him. On Tuesday, we had an episode here about the rebirth of Williams, telling how things started to go downhill back in 1997 when they were on top but lost Adrian Newey. From BMW's departure to the arrival of paid drivers in short, things really fell apart and Williams almost ceased to exist, but now they're starting to move back to the front. On Wednesday, a short but great story from a time when Formula One had an average age of almost 40, with 3 or 4 drivers over 50. Those were different times. You can watch all of this if you haven't already over the weekend. So leave a like, it's free, it doesn't cost anything, you know, it really helps the channel. Do me this favor, do us this favor, and don't forget to leave your hype with us. Any little comment, it can be an emoji, you can tell us where you're watching from, send a shout out, a message to someone you think. The algorithm counts it as engagement and spreads our content all over the internet. You saw how it went in the iBest voting. We made it to the next round. Why? Because you all are a powerhouse of engagement, incredibly strong. We're waiting for the next round. Once the track opens, we'll go for it again to try to make it to Q3. We're already qualified, sitting in the car waiting for our turn with new tires and ready to go. So you don't miss anything we do here. We have notification channels, Instagram, Telegram, and WhatsApp, where you get an automatic message on your phone as soon as I publish any content. We have thousands of members in each of them. And last but not least, our social media, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, and TikTok array showing up here with the handles. And the link is also down below in the description, where there's content coming out all the time. And then on Friday, as you already know, we have our usual recommendations. Thanks. Big hug. It's Friday. Take care.